thank you so much for joining me for Kasia's Voice. I have an incredible person today with me, my parents and my favorite chiropractor person. He is a miracle worker. Him and his wife, Joe and Stacey, have an office in San Diego, but where specifically in San Diego?
Yeah, we're in Kensington off Adams Avenue.
Right.
Yeah.
And the name of your place.
It is Good Vibrations Family Chiropractic.
And oh my God, anytime you feel anything slightly off, these two can fix you, no matter a little bit, a lot. I mean, my mom is a perfect case. She goes through bad days and good days. A lot of you know my mom had a bunch of back surgeries. And so when she's in a shape that there's no hope, this is who she goes to. And there's hope. There's always hope. So I am so happy to have you sharing you and your knowledge and your expertise with all of us. So thank you. Thank you so much, Joe, for being with me.
Yes, yes. Thanks for having me. It's an honor to serve you, serve your family, and just to chat with you today and chat with the community, because now more than ever, the world needs to know like how important their health is, and I have some really great insights that could help them.
Perfect. Exactly. I mean, you're the person to go to see. I mean, yes, we have to see the doctors. Yes, we have to see the nurses, you know, when we're already sick and we need some medicine. But before all of this, Joe and Stacey are the people to see, and their family, right? Because you have actually quite a few people working for you, and they're all fabulous. Not only that you feel that you do good stuff to our body, you give us so much of just happiness and appreciation, and you feel loved and taken care of. And so that's so awesome. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. It's we're on a mission, and this is something that I've been doing for a long, long time. So I love it. I love it.
Yes, and we definitely, as clients, we can definitely feel that. The minute you walk to your door, you feel, you know, because sometimes you go to chiropractors or your doctors and you kind of feel like, oh, this is going to be tough, right? You as a client is already slightly unhappy because something is aching. And then sometimes the atmosphere, it's a little dark, let's put it that way, right? Or you think like, oh my God, this is going to be painful. And the minute you walk into your space, it's like you feel like bubbles, like you guys have bubbles in front of your place.
We do.
Right? It's like you just feel like good things are going to happen and you're going to be bright and vibrant. So share that with us during these uncertain times, right? Because there is so much stuff happening, and I feel I've noticed for myself that sometimes I have aches within my body because of the mind being so stressed.
Yes, bingo. You know, one thing I really want to empower people to understand and know is that there's an intelligence within you, within your mind, your body, your spirit, that's way more powerful than you've been led to believe, right? Like think of it this way. Like you have over 206 bones in your body, over 650 muscles, over 45 miles of nerves that travel at over 270 miles per hour to over 70 trillion cells. And what people don't realize is they have control of how their body can work. And sometimes we need some help and some support. And I have a 3-step process, because you brought it up like that, you know, sometimes it's our mind, right? There's 3 stresses that affect our health. There's physical stress, like sitting, standing, dancing, having fun, moving, right? Then there's chemical stress, foods we eat, things we drink, environmental toxins. Then there's emotional stress. It could be school, work, family, or what we're going through right now with COVID. And this 3-step process is very powerful, and you can use it for anything, but I'll use it in the context of health right now. And it's beliefs, actions, results. Okay. So think about like where our mindset comes from about health and about life, right? It comes from our fathers, mothers, preachers, teachers, our neighbors, uncle that told us about X, Y, Z. Comes from social media or the media or CNN, right? And right now we have to start filtering and start thinking about, okay, what is true? What is true for me, and what can I do to create a better health, better life, and be more positive? So think of it this way. Like I had a person come in, her name is Mary, and Mary had headaches for over 25 years, okay? So she was told that she had to deal with it. She had to suffer. She had to take medications. And that was the only way that she could survive. And so her neighbor told her, hey, you know what? I have this chiropractor, go check him out. And so her belief when she came to our office was that she was going to be sick and in pain and on medications for the rest of her life. And there was no hope, right? So that was the story that she had in her mind, creating her life. Because when she has that kind of belief, then it determines her actions, right? So if she believes that's how her health is going to be, or her happiness, then her actions, she doesn't eat well, she doesn't drink water, she doesn't stretch, she doesn't do the things that support her. However, we start to create different goals for her. We start to create a different perspective in her mind. So that way she starts then eating healthier, start getting better rest, start exercising, start getting her adjustments, start having a better mindset. But then, yeah, but then what's amazing, then after 25 years of headaches, none. She has no headaches.
It's creating your reality, creating your life. And we hear this all the time, like for us dancers, right? We train our athletes. In order for you to win, you have to create that possibility. And sometimes people think you're crazy, right? Like if someone brand new says, I want to be a world champion, you're looking at the person and go, are you nuts? You have nothing and you want to do this? Or they're looking, with Tiger Woods or, right, so phenomenal star and go, wow, I want to beat them one day. The average person going to say, that's not going to happen to you, right?
Yes.
So then the question, and you see people doing this all the time. You see people failing or you see people succeeding. And it's what's in your mind. If you believe I'm going to be sick, I'm going to be taking medication forever, right? That's exactly what you do. I mean, my dad, right? The minute someone says to my dad, you're going to take medication forever, he's immediately, I don't think so. And he never does. The man survived like 65 years. Of not really, I mean, yes, of course, he takes medicine when he needs it. But the idea that you're going to be on the pill for the rest of your life, he's like, no, there has to be another way. There has to be a more efficient way of doing this. Because in the old days, there were no pills forever and people were perfectly fine. Yeah, so that's awesome. Let me ask you, does that, so clearly that takes time, right? And you have to take kind of like what I call them manageable steps. Because if you try to chew too much all at once, you keep on failing, and then people usually quit from, the experience that I had. If I give them too much and the change is too drastic right away, it's a scary thought. Versus if it's like eatable pieces, then it seems you can kind of keep on moving forward.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and there's two approaches and models of health or happiness, if you think about it. One model is where people are reactive, and that's by choice, right? That's where they start basing, their health or their happiness based on how they're feeling, or a disease that's going on, or what's been diagnosed. And then they start to treat them, with medicine, with pills, or by even sometimes natural approaches. But they're doing it very sporadically and inconsistently.
Got it.
Right? The second model of health and happiness is actually proactive, and that's by choice, right? That's the things that we do every day, every week, every month, every year for the whole year. And that's when we do the non-symptomatic approach, to our wellness, our fitness. Instead of reacting to the symptoms, then we actively do things that make us stronger and healthier and happier. It's like dancing. You don't dance, once a month and you're like, okay, I'm going to be a world champ, right? It's
consistency. Yes.
It's a commitment that you do consistently. And that's the key word with life and health, is when you're consistent, whether it's your health, whether it's relationships, whether it's family, whether it's work, when you're consistent is where you see the best results. But that's by the choices that you make every day.
Right. Exactly. That's it. It has to be almost like a lifestyle. It has to become something you do, almost like brushing your teeth, right? This is what I do. Like eating healthy. It shouldn't be, today I'm going to eat healthy, right? You should be eating healthy. You should be doing good things to your body. And occasionally you can have a cheating day. Occasionally.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Doing something unhealthy, but not the other way around it and hoping you're going to get one day of being healthy. Oh, I want a great results, right? Like I'm just going to pop painkiller and that's gonna solve the
Right.
I mean, those are good too from time to time, but overall, you are hoping that you're going to be so well that you're not going to need to deal with those symptoms on, just popping the pills or putting the Band-Aid on and hoping that, you're just going to look the other way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right now, being in this situation, could you tell me about, do you see that people are a little bit more stressed? Do you feel that people are a little bit more, because I think also, like I know in the beginning, so we came to see you with my mom, and I think in the beginning, we did not know if you're going to be able to be open, right? But I guess we are definitely essential business because, just because there's the virus and just because there are other things, we still need adjustments. We still need, the car still needs to keep on working. So how have your experience been during this crazy, I would call it?
It's been an interesting COVID era, right? Like, I mean, it's not unprecedented. None of us have ever seen or experienced anything like this. What I'm seeing is that people are very stressed physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. But I'm also seeing is where people our communities, they're sick and tired of being sick and tired. And they really want to understand how to take better care of themselves, better care of their health, and they're ready now more than ever to take action. So what I'm seeing is people are ready for a change. Like, we're going to see a cycle of change where people are going to get healthier than they've been in years. But what we have to do is switch the focus and the energy from the strength of this virus to the strength of you, the strength of your body, the strength of your health, the strength of your love for life. So that's what I'm seeing right now is there's a shift where people becoming awake and conscious of taking better care of themselves.
No, I think what you said, it's so incredible to like value your life, because what I've noticed, right, that we got so scared because there is a possibility we could die, right? It's been presented to us. This is such a strong virus that if you are not strong enough yourself, you could die. And all of a sudden you realize no one wants to die, right? I mean, we always knew that, but now there's almost like this panic. Oh my God, I could actually die. So I think what will be, just like you're saying, would be nice to see that shift, that yes, we realize we don't want to die. And now the question is, what can I do to be stronger? So even though I can encounter coronavirus or any other virus that could come our way, right? Because we've been so fortunate in however many years, bad things usually do not come our way, right? We are clean. We are, the society is so developed, very rarely that we have situation like this. So very rarely we actually think of how can I be strong enough to be prepared for such a thing. And I think that's why right now lots of people are to some degree freaking out because they do not believe that they are healthy enough, that they're strong enough. And I'm getting sick of tired of us just talking about how terrible the sickness is versus, okay, it is, we discussed it, we know it, it's out there. People who can do something about it, they're the ones studying it, but the rest of us should shift our conversation. What could I do to prevent getting it? What could I do to build my immune system? So when I go outside, wearing the mask, not wearing the mask, being in public, not being in the public, I can take my own responsibility based on I feel I am strong. And if I don't, what could I do to get stronger? Those are the conversations that I feel as a society we should be engaging more, talking to people like you, talking to anyone who can help us to be on that path of not looking at the bad, but going, okay, the bad is always there, right? You get out of the house, out of your protective environment. We go on the trips. I've been to Africa. I've been to Indonesia, to places we do not know too much about it, right? The water is not as good as over here. We take the risks, right? But we believe we are strong enough, right? So I think that would be such a great shift for the whole society to make. How can we value life and how can we then take care of that? Not just worry, I just don't want to die. And then looking for the vaccination, that's what drives me nuts, that we're trying to put the responsibility on others.
Yes.
We have to take responsibility.
Yeah. Well, and you hit it right on the head is that, some people think our government should be responsible for our health. Some people think that the insurance companies should be responsible for our health. Some people think that our doctors should be responsible for our health, and it's really us.
Totally.
That need to take charge of our own health and what we're experiencing. The interesting thing about COVID and the coronavirus is that, you know, it's something that can be very harmful, but they're also finding that it's nothing worse than an influenza, a flu season.
Correct.
Right.
Yep.
And so, but what's interesting about what's going on now is that the fear of the coronavirus is actually worse than the actual virus.
Totally. It's almost like the pandemic of a fear.
Yes. Yes. But, and check this out, Kasia. This is what happens when someone goes into stress, and it's called fight or flight. It's a sympathetic response of your brain and your nervous system. Is people what ends up happening is like they can't breathe properly. Their digestion doesn't work. Their blood vessels stay constricted. Their muscles get really tight. Their heart beats faster. Their saliva, they can't quite, digest the food properly in their mouths. But what ends up happening is then they can't adapt.
Right.
To life, right? And that's where we need to shift the conversation for people to be able to adapt to the stress and to be able to adapt to what's going on. Because you're right, no matter what, there's going to be a bacteria out there. There's going to be a virus out there. You have a very high likely chance of getting in a car accident, but we don't stop driving cars.
Right, exactly. You don't go, oh my God, don't not go on the street because you could die. Right? I mean,
right?
Although we could,
yeah.
Right? And it's because we're so used to having cars around, we don't even think they're deadly machines that you could be run over and you could be dead, right? We just think, we talk, we look, we are driving them almost completely not paying attention because we got so used to, right? But now this tiny little thing, right, that it's everywhere, all of a sudden, we are so afraid, right? And then the mind, the body is just so tight, right? That you can't almost like, I've noticed people cannot have any other conversations about any other thing.
Right.
And everybody recycles the same conversation. It's like we're on autopilot. We have 10 sentences that everybody just keep on recycling over and over and over. Yeah.
Well, and what's happening then is the brain can't handle those stresses, but then the brain starts shutting down. And I'll get a little nerdy with you. It starts to create neurological imbalances, and a few things happen. One is called dyskinesia. Dyskinesia is where you have your body doesn't work right. It doesn't move right, right? Like we were talking about the other day. All of a sudden, you feel certain areas that it's not functioning properly. Then we go into what's called disafferentation, where you have abnormal neural input into your brain. Your brain doesn't process information properly. Okay. Then we go into dyskinesis. In dyskinesis is then we have abnormal energy input and output. Like our energy levels start to drop down, and then we start to feel more like fatigued and tired. And then we go into a full flight of dysautonomia. So that's like the fight or flight response. That's where people literally think there's a bear or a virus that's trying to attack them.
They're everywhere all the time.
Everywhere all the time. And it's not even there, right? And no one can thrive in this kind of mindset or this kind of central nervous system function, because their bodies are breaking down, and then their immune system is lower too. So we have to figure out ways how to help people adapt and thrive and create healthier, stronger immune systems.
Correct. Right. Exactly. That's a perfect example of anyone under stress. You know how when you are stressing, forget even virus, small little things in life, when we start stressing, all of a sudden you don't see things. All of a sudden we become, perfect example, you become clumsy. You end up bumping into things. You end up knocking things over, right? That you never did before. All of a sudden you did not see something. What are my keys? But they're right in front of you. You're looking at them and you don't see them. Right? Yeah. Or then you think, oh my God, there are only red lights everywhere all of a sudden when you're driving. Things are just, you don't make rational decisions anymore because you're panicking, right? And we've all experienced this in different aspects of our life at different times of our lives. And I feel like that virus is causing the whole society to be in the same situation. And then one of the things I really noticed as well, people look at each other like we are threat, like you don't wear a mask and people look at you, oh my God, you're crazy. You wear a mask around the people that don't wear a mask, they're looking at you like you're crazy for wearing it. No matter where you go, it's like someone is looking at you like they're ready to knock you on the head, like.
Well, and that's what I was talking about, is the brain thinks that everyone is a threat.
Oh, totally.
And that they're going to be attacked in some way. I mean, there's 5 like top major effects of stress on your brain that affect your health. The first one is fatigue, like we talked about. Right. People's energies are super low right now. The second is their metabolism starts to slow down, right? And they can't process food properly. The third is their immunity goes down. The fourth is their thinking gets foggy. Like you were saying, like you can't find things and you can't process that information. The fifth is then our attitudes. Like our attitudes and our behaviors then start, we start becoming, not the people we want to be when we're under this kind of stress.
Correct. Yeah, it's almost like we transform ourselves to like animals that are aggressive and they're fighting for survival. I mean, that's really what it is, right? Yeah. We act like we are being attacked, or there is a possibility of attack from every individual around us, right? And we have to protect, and we are ready, almost like we are ready to bite you before you bite us, right? So it's a very unfriendly atmosphere. And to try to even be nice, like I've noticed what's interesting, that people are so hungry for kindness or for niceness, right? So I go biking and I've noticed that if I ride with my like if I don't smile, that's one thing. But when I smile, everybody waves at us.
Yeah.
Everybody, it's so wanting to experience something nice, because I've noticed everybody's getting aggravated. I was talking to one of my really good friends and he said, you know what? The last few days, I am just aggravated like crazy. I almost screamed at my mom when she was saying something. And he said, and I called and I apologized, because I'm like, it has nothing to do with her. It just inside, I have all this, and it's hard to put the finger on what exactly aggravates us. Everything aggravates us. It's the unknown, it's the news, this and everybody, because that's another thing. We only share bad stuff. We only share bad news. No one shares, this got fixed and this got fixed. No one shares that, they're letting people go to work and people are healthy and the numbers are not going up. Like, we don't talk about that. We only look, but one person died somewhere. And then we make such a big news and everybody attach themselves to this. I'm like, I was talking with a friend of mine the other day, my previous conversation, that we should have invented a good news channel. Only good things are allowed to be shared there, because now act like there is no goodness in the world whatsoever.
Yeah, and that's what we need, because whatever we focus on grows, right? I mean, like, think about, there's this part of your brain that's called the reticular activating system. So, for example, if you get a yellow Porsche, right? All of a sudden, you start seeing yellow Porsches everywhere. Everywhere. Correct. So now what's going on is, because we're talking about the virus over and over again, that's what all we see and we think about all day long, versus something positive, something happy, something healthy, something great. Like, we should be celebrating right now that the number, that initially when this virus came out, that they had a certain model that there was going to be, I want to say like 300,000 deaths, right? Now there's, I don't know, maybe they're finding maybe about 50,000. Okay. So we should celebrate that. Hey, that is amazing, right?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. We should celebrate small victories, right?
Yeah.
Okay, we are, even in California, we don't have the number growing. Yes, it's aggravating that we are staying home. Yes, it's aggravating the parks are closed. I get it. But now you go, okay, because of that, we are actually pretty healthy. There is not that many new cases. There are no people dying. We have a possibility of going to somewhat back to normal. So again, with every situation, you can look at the negative, or you can go, okay, this is the negative. What's the positive happening at the same time, right? Because then you go, okay, there's a hope. There is a possibility of us recovering much faster than what we maybe originally thought. Yes, I'm not saying it's easy. I'm not saying that I am not aggravated staying at home. My job depends on me traveling. Yes, of course, I enjoy being in the house, but on the other hand, I'm thinking, this is very unsettling, right? My whole job, it stands still at the moment. And a lot of my colleagues, right, dancing,
Yeah.
apparently dancing is not essential. Just terrible news. I mean, dancing is essential for happiness.
It is.
Right? But if I only think of that, it's very easy to get depressed because you go, oh my God, I do not know this, and I do not know this. There's so many unknowns. But at the same time, you go, okay, people are not dying. Bad things are not happening to me. I am well. I am healthy. I could still maintain somewhat, maybe not such a grand quality of the life, because now we are not buying stuff. Everybody is a little bit afraid of what their financial stability is going to be. But there is so many other things that we could be appreciative of. And we always spoke about those things, but this is almost like a big test. Can we actually do it? Because I think a lot of time we say, oh, be thankful. And then people say, yeah, I am, but don't do anything about it. And now if you don't, you will be really depressed. You will be really aggravated. So now it's not just a thought. You actually have to do it.
Yes. And you have to live it and be it and breathe it. I mean, and really celebrate that right now across America, we have a 99.9 recovery rate.
All right, which is awesome.
Incredible. It's awesome. So I mean, I really want people to see and understand that more and celebrate that, and the sooner that we do get back to life, it's going to be better for people, for families, for health, for the economy, for everything. Because right now, there is a higher rate of, domestic abuse and alcohol abuse and, and suicides and different things that we need to start getting back into the positive and getting back into our lives and back into our routines.
Right. There's the thing. I think a big part of all of us being a little bit aggravated and unsettled is because the routines are no longer right. And at first it seems like, oh, what do you mean the routine? As much as we all like to have a freedom and love to go on vacation, we like to know this is what we do. This is how things go. This is where we go. I mean, that's why we love all the holidays being organized, right? We do the same things, the same time with the same people. And as much as it seems it's boring, we love it, right? Because it gives us a sense of belonging, it gives us a sense of purpose, it kind of gives us a path. And right now, there is no path, right? Yeah. So you think we should have been all happy, but then we discover that freedom is like being on the ocean. We love to have a pool because we know where the edges are versus the ocean when there is no edge. It's like, wow, I'm drowning here.
Yeah, we as human beings, we need a routine, we need a rhythm, we need some kind of cycle and schedule. Yes. It's nice to not do anything, but in the long term, in the big picture, we need to be moving towards something and creating, something. We're here on this planet to create. Like you're here on this planet to dance and to create and help others create, so it's a sense of like fulfillment and purpose.
Right. So I should have asked you this in the very beginning, but since now we're talking about the purpose, how did you end up doing what it is that you do? How did you discover your purpose? Because I think that's so, that's so interesting to kind of know about people's journey, how they end up where they are, and especially for someone, because some people end up where they are and they're unhappy, right? So well, maybe you don't want to share that, right? But for someone like you who enjoys what you do, if you can share with us, like what was your journey to get wherever you are at the moment?
Yeah. Well, the long story short is I was born to a 15-year-old girl in New York City. She was deathly afraid that she was going to be kidnapped, taken to Colombia, and have me aborted. But she knew that I had to live. She had long, beautiful black hair. She chopped it off, and we hid. We hid for 2 to 3 years. And I grew up in the projects of New York City. And I remember asking my mom, saying, "Mommy, do we live in a war zone?" And she's like, "No, why?" I'm like, "Well, it sounds like bombs are going off and there's gunshots and there's buildings on fire and cars on fire." And I would see like, she was like, oh, that's fine, that's normal. But I would see that she was like in pain. I see that she was stressed and anxious. She was going to school full time, working full time, taking care of me. And I just wanted to help her. I wanted to love her. And so by the age of 4, I would have her lay on the ground and I would start working on her. And obviously I didn't know what I was doing, but I had a servant heart and I wanted just to help her. And so over time, my skills developed, and I would see that she seemed happier. She had more energy. She seemed, just more balanced in her body. So if you ask her, she'll say that she raised me to be a chiropractor.
That's, I did not know that. That's awesome. So that's like your calling almost from the very beginning.
Yeah, for sure, sure.
Fabulous. Yeah. And it's so great that you hold on to that, and now you can share this with people. Not your mom, which is so awesome. Yeah. But the thing that you feel, kind of like what I said in the beginning, like the minute you walk into the room, or we walk into your facility, right, which definitely have your vibe, right? The happy vibes, it's definitely there. You could feel it. You can, without you even touching us physically, without you adjusting us, you feel that, and one of the things, maybe we can touch on this as well. Right now, of course, we have the social distancing, right? And I know that that's important, but one of the things what I would like all of us humans to keep in mind, we can't survive without the human touch. Right? Yeah. That's what you were doing to your mom, right? You were not adjusting her. You were just loving her. How do we love people? By hugging them. We love by holding their hand. That's why we all love to be in love. That's why we all look for that special one to snuggle, right? Because that gives us such a nice feeling that I feel essential for us as humans, right? And I am a little bit afraid with everybody panicking that this is how we have to be forever. If we are at the social distancing with everybody, we're going to create another set of problems, because there is going to be no touch. There's going to be no humankind. And at some point, we have to go back to normal, not to be afraid to hold someone's hand, to give someone a hug, right? Yes, there might be some risk, right, involved. And right now, I get it. It's a mandatory thing to make sure we don't get sick. But some people are taking this so out of proportion. Oh, we're going to do this for 2 years, for 3 years. This is going to be our new future. If this is our new future, we're going to die pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Because we are not designed to be on our own without the human interaction. I mean, even for the kids that are prematurely born, in the old days, they would put them in a separate little containers almost to make sure that, it's a germ-free environment. Right now, what they do, if the mother can't, because something could have happened to mom, they hire someone to come and massage them, to hug them, to love them, right? So that's incredibly important. And I would like people to be aware, at some point, we have to let that craziness go.
Yeah. I mean, we're designed to be a part of communities and tribes, and to have each other. Like, one thing, when I was growing up, I actually got involved in gangs, and in the gangs, it was interesting because they were people like you and I, right? There were people that wanted to be loved and supported and connected. And, and in these gangs, what I learned was that it was about the human connection and the human touch. Because one thing I vowed, because I ended up in like foster care and juvenile hall and all these different things. But what I vowed was one day I was going to create a place and space and time where people didn't feel alone. And that's why we created Good Vibrations Chiropractic, was to create that place where people felt loved and nurtured and supported. And it wasn't like your typical doctor's office, but with like, music and high fives and hugs and connection, and that's what you feel when you walk in. And that's our that's our sole intention to give. So as humans, we need that to thrive. We need that to live. We need that to become, whole, and I think, give it a little bit of time. I think it will shift again. I have faith I have a lot of faith in humanity and a lot of faith in people. And people just need to remember to trust and have faith as well.
It's a thing. I think we will have to rebuild the trust, because I think that virus, kind of like what we talked about it a few minutes ago, it causes so much fear that we look at each other as everybody, it's a threat to us. So we do not trust ourselves, and we do not trust people, right? Because we do not know, maybe we have a virus, right? So I would wear a mask to infect someone. But then at the same time, I don't trust you. I want you to wear a mask because maybe you are sick, right? And at some point we will have to slowly start rebuilding that trust and understanding that they're well, I am well, right? There might be some risk involved, but that's essential. Otherwise, we cannot have a striving society, community, right? There is just no other way. Like all of us realize through this segregation and through this isolation, that as much as we all loved our space, we like being with people. Even the one that bother us, even the annoying uncle or someone who, you go, oh, I cannot stand you now. You wish you could be giving them a hug, right? That we are so much designed to be together. I mean, that's the beauty of our dance community as well. What we give people, it's so much more than dancing. It's a community of doing stuff together, of appreciating, of sharing the joy. So yeah, I think that definitely going to be a huge test for us as humankind to start rebuilding that again.
Yeah, well, and it's having that trust and that faith. And I love the word faith. I broke it down into an acronym, and it's finding answers in the heart.
Oh, that's great. Finding answers in the heart. Okay, we love this. I'm going to be stealing that from you.
Please do.
Oh, totally.
Because people need to go back to their heart space, get out of their head and their fear, and go back to their heart and their spirit to connect again with people. Because that's where like the true essence of why we're alive is to love each other. But we got to have that faith and find the answers in the heart again.
You know what? That's so interesting what you just said. Because so if I just quickly go back to, let's say, the gangs, have you noticed? I had this conversation, interestingly, with someone, I don't remember with whom, how everybody wants to be loved, even the bad guy, right? Even the gangsters, they could be doing terrible things, killing people, stealing, doing drugs, whatever bad people do. But they go back to the loved one. They have a wife, they have a family. If they don't, they have a pet. They have someone or something that they love. Everybody at the core is striving for that. They want to love, and they want someone who loves them, right? If we all dig into that, right, that all of us have, like no one is born without the heart. I mean, it doesn't exist. So each of us has it. Some maybe hidden a little bit more than others.
Yeah.
But if we revisit that place, the world will be significantly nicer to all of us, right? And I know sometimes it seems like so cliche, oh, just be lovey-dovey. But all of us be in this position when you feel loved. That's why we love dating. That's why we love, that first, oh my God, I'm so crazy, because you have energy, right? And even if you're tired, right? You cannot wait to see that person. You could be working 12 hours, you take a shower, and you quickly want to go see that person, right? All of a sudden you have energy, you're excited, you want to do things for them, right? There is that force that it's so much more powerful than our brain. Logically, it's too far. Logically, I should be tired. Logically, I should be going to bed because I have to go to work. But the heart says, forget all the logic. I'm actually going to be doing this. And then the next day, you're not tired. You're not exhausted. You have enough energy, right? Because it's driven from that magical place, right? That give us so much love and so much joy. It's almost like the internal light that we all have. So yeah, that's awesome.
Well, and that love is what inspires us, right? It inspires us, whether it's in a relationship or with a dance or with a business or whatever it is. But when you break down the word inspire, it's like to be in spirit, right? So we need that love to be in spirits and be inspired. And even, you know, in context of the COVID, it actually strengthens our immune system. It makes us stronger and healthier and happier and whole, you know. And that's, I think, as a society, we have to go back into that healing space. I love the word heal, because the word heal means to make whole, right? So we're going to have to put, it's like puzzle pieces of life again. We're going to have to put those puzzle pieces together, you know, so that way we become whole again in our minds, in our bodies, in our spirits, in our cities, in our states, in our country, on the planet. So we're going to go through a healing process, but with people like you and I and people that are watching this, we can be part of that change, that cycle of change, and help people feel loved again and inspired.
Absolutely. And I love what you said, or I would like you people to be aware, everybody, like we can start from us, people who are a little bit maybe stronger, who are willing to have this conversation and share it, right? But I would like everybody to keeping in mind, you matter so much. Everybody, kind of like when we talk about taking the responsibility for our health, for our actions. And I want you to feel you are responsible for spreading that, of moving that needle one step. If one person does that goodness, one good deed, one nice gesture, smile, a touch to someone, if each of us just do one thing, right, we would be so far ahead. But a lot of time we think we're insignificant. Oh, my little actions don't matter. No one cares. We all do. We all affect people around us. Even if you're not aware of that, we still do. It's your neighbor, it's the clerk, a person in the bank, you know, your friend, your children. And it's not just if you affect one person, that person affects another person. If it's just one, but there's more than just one, right? So that's what I would like people to remember. We all matter. We all have that gift that we can share.
Yeah, like when I go into like a store, like, you know, Vons or Whole Foods or somewhere, my goal is to wave at least 10 people, wave, and I intentionally, or if I'm walking, you know, my neighborhood, wave, and then to talk to people.
Right.
Because people, you know, even if it's, quote, 6 feet away, I'm still talking to people and seeing them as a human and as a spirit and staying connected. So if we're all doing that together, that will create a ripple effect of love and connection again.
Exactly. Absolutely. And I think that's what's so nice is that we show them the respect by having the space, but we also show them the trust, and we do not look at them as a threat, right? So you're kind of giving them both, because if you just go away, then you are showing them, okay, you're respecting me, but you're also scared, or maybe I should be scared, right? If you come too close, then people say, well, you're not respecting me. Right. So keeping that, you're kind of you're playing within the boundaries of what accepted and not to freak people out. But at the same time, you're giving them the positive message that, yes, we're in this together. You don't have to be isolated. Right. Even though we have a little bit more space. Right. I mean, some spaces might not be such a bad thing. I actually enjoy that there is no traffic at 5 o'clock on the freeway, right? That I can go to the beach and come back, and I don't have to like strategically plan when I'm going to be driving, right? I mean, that's not such a bad thing after all.
Yeah. Well, and I think too, you hit one of the words, the buzzwords right now that we're all experiencing is isolation. And as human beings, we can't thrive in isolation. You know, there's scientific studies that show like that if someone is isolated, it's like smoking a pack of cigarettes every day.
Wow.
Like it's that bad for your health. So we want to remind people to stay connected and to stay in community and keep talking to each other, do these Zoom calls. But there's going to be a time, I mean, we're going into phase 2 of opening California. We're opening back up, and people have to open their hearts back up.
Correct. And be brave enough. Right. I'm hoping that this is going to work. Well, this has been so fabulous talking to you. I so appreciate you taking the time and you sharing most importantly, your vibe, because that's what you have all this knowledge, which is fabulous. And thank you so much. But your energy and your spirit and what you stand for, that's what's so great. So thank you for that. But we have to bust the move, because everybody, you have the vibe, I have the vibe. So now I'm going to play us I feel happy, and then we wiggle around a little bit because so everybody keep your spirits up and be happy. Thank you, Joe, for empowering the world. You are awesome. Thank you.
Thank you. So are you. Lots of love to you. Thank you, guys. And remember, guys, open your hearts as we're opening California and opening up the world, because everything and anything is possible.
So well said.